Well, it's nice to have a long walk about after those 5 weeks of painting. A lot of rats for those videos, but I'm glad they turned out so well. After all of this, I've decided to make a collection video of all 4 of those videos. I hope you enjoy it.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
It's be time for the Gentlemen of Fortune Rat Clan. Let's paint them. Start with an ossified primer, then Tyrant Skull Drybush Sword model. Next to the sky be Imperial Fist. This here be applied to all the top rags. After that's there, it be Nasdaq Yellow. This here must be applied to all the bottom rags, teeth, claws and boils. Fire Slayer Flesh now, going over all the visible skin and rats. Then it be Vulpus Pink, applying it over all the tails and visible tongues. Continuing on, it be Gardak Sewers, being applied to all the fur. Then it be Snakebite Leather, applied to all the belts, pouches and leather straps. Whirled would be to the sky, to be used on all the wooden bits. Next to the sky be Agawas Dunes, for this here we apply it to the tactical rocks. One more Drybush, or Tyrant Skull, or all the contrast details. Lead Belcher next, painting over all the metallic areas. Overlord Brass after for the metal trim and decorations. Then shade all the metallic areas with Agrax Earth Shade. Use Mithril Blade as a layer on all the iron. Sycorax Bronze as the final layer to go onto all the copper. Onto the basing. Start with Armageddon June and apply on all of the base. The sea be needed, use Calador Sky or the Empty off on the base. While the base dries, use Flesh Terror Red on the eyes. Texture paint takes a while to dry, so water down some Volupus Pink and apply it to the nose. Then use Drakenhof Nightshade over the most of the blue. Lothan Blue next, it be applied to the sea as water streaks. Next be Pallid Witch Flesh, that their paint be used to mimic sea foam, so stipple it on in random places in the sea. Now it be Seraphim Sepia going over all the sand. And the final Tyrant Skull Drybush before painting the base rim of Abaddon Black, and you can call yourself finished. And there'd be the Skaven Clan Skurvy, and I'm just gonna stop doing this voice now. Ugh. Tune in next time for another of the 4 random clans. Love Verminous but hate Moors? Then Rictus is the clan for you. Start with a primer of Ossified Earth, then instantly hit it with Drybush of Tyrant Skull. Then a wash of Targal Rage Shade all over the flesh. For all the cloth, use Skeleton Horde. Then Volupus Pink for the nose, tail and tongue. Afterwards is Natural Yellow for all the teeth, claws and warts. And Gorgrunner Fur for all the belting and bags. Cygor Brown next, going over all the tufts of fur. Then Wildwood going over all the wooden bits. For all the armor paneling, use Black Templar. And another dry brushing of Tyrant Skull. For most of the metallics, use Lead Belcher. And Overlord Brass for all the metallic trims and trinkets. Flesh Terrace Red for the eyes, and then we move on to the shades. And then all we need is Agrax Earth Shade going over all the metal. The first shade is Mithril Blade going over all the steel. And then it's Sycorax Bronze going over all the copper, and you're ready for the base. The base follows a dark curve tradition, so just start with a base coat of Sterling Mud, followed by a Garagax Sewer Shade, and a dry brush of Mornfang Brown. It's Warpstone tinted ground, so Cabalite Green in the ground as lightning bolts. And a thin line of Cybrid Green inside of that line. A final base paint of Abaddon Black over all the rim. And since this is actually, it's Brimstone Firegrass, and then you're done. And there you go, Clan Rictus, ready to pick up spears and fight Moors.
I am the Lizard Queen!
Play Skaven but love the drip of the Lizardmen? Then these lads are for you. As always, start with Ossified Earth as the primer and Tyrant Skull as the dry brush. First contrast paint is Pterodon Turquoise. If you ever get any on it all over the other places, just tidy it up with Morghast Bone. Then Targor Rage Shade all over the physical flesh. Next is Volupus Pink going over all the tails, tongues and noses. After that, it's Natural Yellow going over all the teeth, claws and boils. Up next is Snakebite Leather going over all the leather details including belts and ropes. And of course, Wildwood going over all the wooden pieces. For all the fur, use Black Legion. Then it's Flesh Tear's Red for the eyes. Leading up to a Tyrant Skull dry brush all over. Next up is Certek Green going over all the Tyrant Skull found on the teal. And then the Alien Metallic of Dragon Skulls going over all of the bits that you want labelled as metallic. After that is Flesh Wash for all the metal areas. Mithril Blade has a layer all over all that gold, and it's time for the base. Since Clan Spittle are actually invading Azir, we're going to need to have some Astral Granite on the base. Then Agrex Earthshade going over all that Astral Granite. And complete the ground with a dry brush of Auric Armor Gold. Final paint of Abaddon Black to make a nice and tidy rim. And then decide the location of the alien neon 4mm and you can consider yourself done. And it's done, Skaven Clan Spittle painted and ready for your command to invade Azir.
I have a neanderthal in the chat. We have an ice dweller.
Got plans for Gur but don't know the clan for the job? Well, Gnaw is the right clan for you. Start with an Ossified Earth Primer, then Dry Brush with Tyrant Skull. Fireslayer Flesh is next, going over all the visible skin. Next up is Gryph-hound Orange, being applied to all of the top robes. After that is Sargar Brown going over all the bottom robes, and don't forget to use more gas burners to tidy up the mistakes. Then it's Volupus Pink going over all the tails, tongues and noses. Snakebite Leather next, going after its namesake and even the pouches. Then it's Wildwood going over all the wooden pieces. After that it's Nitric Yellow going over all the teeth, claws and the boils on the model. The fur for this model is actually going to be grey, so we'll be using Basilicanum Grey. And then a final contrast paint of Flesh Tear's Red just for the eyes. Before jumping onto the metallics, let's just start off with a Tyrant Skull all over the contrast paint. But don't forget Tiger Stripes with Corvus Black. And the only actual metal we need is Overlord Brass, just going over all the metal. Rinse out the paint water because it's time for Agrex Earthshade going over all that metal. And layer on some Cycrox Bronze all over that metal. To properly complete the model, all you need is some Nihilak Oxide to go over most of that copper. Time for a very wild appropriate base, starting with a Grelin Earth. Then shading with Glen Earth once more over that base. And a final dry brush of Tyrant Skull all over that base. The truly final paint is Abaddon Black going over the base as always. And a Mordian Corpsegrass Tuft just to give it that look. And there you have it, some rats ready to go monkey mode in the Gur realm, I guess. And that's everything. I hope you enjoyed it all, and yeah, next month it's just going to be about third-party stuff. Well, other games, I'd say. But, you know, hope you stay around for them, because I made some really nice ones.